Yes, well, decision day is just around the corner. Welcome to KDRTV Live tonight, a continuation of the Monetary elections that are due in 2 days. As we promised, we have the lineup today for the discussion. We have the youth, young, fantastic, and very reliable young women in our community who are going to have a discussion around this issue and more particularly give us a perspective of what the young and the youth are really thinking about this as we go forward. So we do have today Dr. Judy Unduso, who's been in the show before. We're very happy to welcome her back. And also we have Elena Marube, who's also joining us today. So ladies, how are you doing?
We are good.
Are you ready to go?
Good.
Yes. Okay, Judy, good. Judy, I want to start with you because you've been on the show. And first, I want to take an opportunity to thank you for being the first one to be on the show. And I think since you came on, we've made massive progress. Thanks for your good start. Right? And Elena, thank you also for joining on today. So obviously, the topic of the day is about the upcoming presidential elections within the MWANYAGETINGE organization, which has really triggered a lot of interest. So to begin with, I want to ask you, Judy, what do you think there's a lot of interest and excitement in the community about this election?
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Okari, for having me. Indeed, the broadcast has done a lot of changes, which are great changes as well. And I do think there's a lot of interest in a lot of people because we want to see changes. And as you all know what is going on in the community, a lot of people want to be a better people each time. So there's a lot of more people who are noticing that the things that were being done in the past, or there's room for improvement. And so we are seeing more and more people wanting to bring this change or bring, make a better situation out of things that have always been done.
Sure. Elena, I know you've not been on the show, but I do know that you are very active in the community. Among others, I think I've seen the Amasase group, and the two of you really look at the real Amasase on the show, so I appreciate that. So what is your take? Why do you think there's excitement in the community about these elections this time?
Thank you, Dr. Jeremy. Yeah. The excitement will come like when something goes on your way thinking you are leaking this, therefore we explain why that we are excited, like we need the change. That's why people that are excited. More so, I can say since I came to this country, I found MWANYAGETINGE. I can say I've not seen anything like including the youths or trying to make youths come in between. So this time around, we wanna like really see a change, and therefore we're ready for a change.
Yeah, obviously you've been around for a long time and you've been within the youth community. You're a young mom, obviously, but still you have a lot of connection and influence within the youth, and particularly within the church community. Based on your conversation with the youth, what do you think are the major issues that are of concern to the youth within our community?
Great questions. And by the way, I just wanted to say that I know that MWANYAGETINGE has been here for over 30 years, and I do think that they have done, well, but there's always room for improvement. We've had great leaders. I mean, this is really, a voluntary position that people have to put their time and energy to do. So I want to say that I do think they have, but there's always room for improvement. So going back to the question that you asked about the youth and the challenges they have, I have to be very honest. There's a lot of challenges, but I will really not be doing them justice by saying, or, kind of like putting in a blanket and saying what they are having. There's definitely a lot of issues, and they always feel like they're not given a platform to air out their problems, their grievances. A lot of time they're actually a forgotten lot. So we don't seem to be knowing most of their problems. There's a lot of issues. They need mentors. They need people to look after. They also need their voices heard regarding the challenges they're having with work. There's racism, we know. There's a lot of things that they're having, but they need a platform like Getting, a platform where they can actually talk about their problems openly without me actually talking on their behalf, because they can be heard. Their voices can be heard, and we can get to know more if they're given more chances to express their concerns.
Lena, to you as well. So I know I had a conversation earlier with you. What are the concerns that you think the youths are facing in our community today?
As I can say, there are whole list of issues concerning youth. But majorly are aside for as follows. Youths, as Sister Judy said, hawakuna mahali wanasikika hata kidogo. So we want to be guided through in this matter to we want to guide this youth in this matter, like for example to like yani hakuna vitu zenye ni vitu mingi zenye hawajui, we leave them out totally komanyanga they need usaidizi yetu as the elders say as Mwanyagetinga at large. These youths they have a lot of things like talents which they are sitting on intuna Mwanyagetinga that we are not coming together to bakonye erinde ba explore those their talents. We are just there. I don't know what's Mwanyagetinga doing or Eliogo Konya our youths. So our youths are I can say the way we grew up is not the way Baoki na Baraboni. It's so different. We don't like when we grew up, our grandmothers or our elders used to sit us down, but you need to do this and this, and when you go, you get a certain age, you do this and this and this and this. But here we're just totally like ego. So this youth, they really need us as like the elders. So lili youth yani eliogiri abatakero kwegwekana lakini mbali kwegwekana they are just down there.
Okay, so I was just trying to make sure that we have the camera focus on one. So let me be more specific about issues affecting the youth. Last time in the post-debate analysis, you had the discussion with Dr. Bogongo, Dr. Nyachai, and Sarah. They did talk about the boy child, and the argument is that the young men within our community are more endangered than another group. Is this something that you really think the next administration should focus on? Let's begin with you, Judy.
So, I will actually tend to agree, but also say I do think both young girls and men and women equally are actually suffering. We do have young ladies who are also going through domestic abuse. We are having young men who are going through domestic abuse. If you look at all these things and the challenges that the young people are having, it's actually hard to tell that it's only one group of people suffering. So there's a lot that we can talk about women challenges as long and also men challenges. So we do have both groups having different unique problems, which if they have a platform and know somebody at MWANYAGETINGE that they can reach out to, they will feel confident to establish the rapport to be able to communicate their concerns without not feeling like they're going to be judged, their information is going to be used against them, or somebody's going to post it on MWANYAGETINGE, and slander their name with it. So, there's a lot of things that people don't feel connected to actually express. So you'll be very surprised that both women and men are actually suffering and having different unique problems. If only they were given a platform that is safe, secure, and feeling like they can have a professional, somebody to talk to that is actually going to hold the information very secure and private and help them with the information they've used instead of using it against them, which most of our community tend to do.
Elena, is that your take, or do you have additional thoughts about that? Obviously, the conversation was about the boy child, and Dr. Judy is adding there it's not just the boys, but it's also affect the girls. Is that what is your take on that, Elena?
Yeah, to me, though, it's both boys and girls. I mean, when you look at the MWANYAGETINGE, there is they need to come up. So when to me, I can say
You're not on there. I think she's frozen, Judy.
Oh, so I will keep adding by saying that, when we look at, let's say, for an instance, and, let us say maybe a health field, I seem to have a lot of passion in terms of health. We are having depression that is affecting both female and male equally. We are having a problem of alcoholism, which affects both female and male. There's a lot of these things do not have a genetic, it's more of every person can suffer equally. And so I do agree that there tend to be certain things that maybe boy child might end up experiencing over a female child, just because sometimes we live in a community that seems to, favor women and children, which is just some days it happens. But I do think that equally we are having both sides that are being affected. And sometimes most of the things that women tend to keep quiet and sit down with their problem, because we are raised to actually, be quiet, and just we are raised by a community that tells us things will get better. So we need to hold on and do not, as a woman, speak out. And that's probably why we might be seeing more of the female, male and versus the male out there. Sorry, I'm not sure if I'm still on. I just had to keep talking.
Only that the camera is focused on you. Is Elena back? Elena, do you want to add on to that quickly?
When you look at our community, we have a suicidal. It's on this young generation. It's like 2-3 of them I've seen happen in our community. If we were to sit with these people and to appear miracle, they were not to be doing what they are doing. They are suffering out there. Others came like students. I lost time there in the hoods. We don't have time to follow for our youths and to tell them what they're supposed to do. So
She's frozen again. Judy, I think she's having a technical problem. Here's another question for you. Regardless, she's back on. So sorry for that technical hiccup there, Elena. regardless of who wins, there's something. Good news is that the two fantastic women were clearly the front runners in the elections, and so there's a very high chance that one of the ladies will become the president of the organization, and that's something new, obviously. Going forward, why do you think unity is very important for the organization and the community?
Can you hear me?
Yes, please go
You
ahead,
can
Lily.
hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Yes. So regardless of who wins, and by the way, I've been watching the debates, and I'm so excited for the leaders that are aspiring, and I do know that we're going to have a great leader out of the people that are contesting. And I just wanted to say that unity is very important, because that's exactly what the Mwanyagetinge name is, a definition of Mwanyagetinge. This is a place where it holds us together. We are woven together, Getinge Kime. So, which means that we are going to have so many differences. We're going to have different ways of looking at things. We're going to look at, people are going to have differences, but we always have to embrace those differences, because no matter what kind of role or what kind of personality or something that we have, there's something special about each person. So once we learn the differences, we don't have to use them against ourselves, but rather bring it together so that we can use it for our advantage. Clearly, I mean, you look at the Somalia community, they have a togetherness. If they're deciding that they're working towards promoting somebody, they'll go to the Somalia Mall and shop at the Somalia Mall. We don't seem to have that unity, whereby we do have like an individual competition, which sometimes is very unhealthy. So I think if we come back together and bring our minds together and be united, we can be able to achieve a lot more. I think that is something that we hope that the next leader can do, to bring us and know that the differences are not there to shy, but rather use the differences to bring us together so that we can work for the common good.
Elena. And by the way, Elena, do we have Elena? If not, Elena, is she on? So, as you know, outgoing President Chui is standing by, so we'll be talking to him in a moment. But obviously, I expect that you will have a word of uh, wisdom, a word of goodbye to him. Elena, what do you say to Chui before he comes on?
Before I go there, I wanted to add about
Yes,
uh,
please.
the
Yes.
upcoming president. The key word here is, as we said, is unity. At the moment, it's not the time we're calling people names, we're cussing people out. We need that unity. Ntutete wanja nyobo. Ntuna abana barobera oromo. Like Mwanyagetinge. So, to call people names or each other names, it doesn't help anything. That's why we feel as Somogusi, we can't even continue. Sandons. We don't have that obomo like as my sister Judy said. You look at the Somali people, they have like that Somalia more. Today, I can give an example of our brother Jojo. He got a restaurant, but not a lot of Kisis goes there, like, or a lot of Kenyans goes there to support him, which means in the what why is Manyagitinge there? Manyagitinge is there, Kotoreta Amo, to unite us. So the upcoming president, whoever who is gonna take, we really want you to bring us together, yeah, to hold us together, so that we can make that Manyagitinge to wake up again from where Esia Sirete Ewoke Kurwa. So for president or whatever, then put up your socks. Make sure we're going to bring Manyagetinge Amo as a Omugusi. Thank you.
Goodbye to Chui. Elena. Okay, Judy, you can
I didn't hear what you said.
say a word of goodbye to Chui. He's coming up next.
Okay, Mr. Chui, thank you so much for to be a president of Manyagetinge. To me, I didn't see anything more correct. Or I didn't hear Manyageting. But when I came here 2004, I was hearing Manyageting when that time when Mr. Morande was there. But this time of the other people, I have not heard anything which is productive to Manyageting. So, Mr. Chui, thank you so much for being Manyageting. And wherever you're going, be praised. And that's all.
All right. Thank you, Elena. And then Dr. Judy, you want to finish up with a word of goodbye to Chui?
Yeah, and can I please say something quickly? I mean, I just wanted to say, I think before I say something to our president Chui, I wanted to say that the youth, the reason the youth need to be, involved is, the wateke usigia tanga mwana moke musulio ngende monto monene ndiogo, and so we use this thing against and really kill the dreams of the young one. I really want to encourage the coming leader to involve the young people, because these people have so much time on their hands. They have acquired a lot of skills sometimes that are not even tapped into. So they have a lot of alacrities and vigor. You give them an assignment, they are quickly going to deliver. Most of these positions actually are not paid, and to have somebody we need somebody who doesn't have a lot of midlife crisis to deal with all these things. So we need young people, assign them something, you take care of the websites or something of the sort. We can grow together, including the young people. So anyway, I know that we are out of time. We had a lot of other things to talk about and say why we need the youth, but I know I will respect the time here and say a word to the outgoing leader. I think you know, I have to say thank you so much, our President Chui, that is outgoing. I have to be honest, I've been in leadership roles in the past. It's not easy to be a leader, especially in a position where you have to put your time and effort that you are not really compensated for. So, regardless of what you did, I know there is something that you did, or there's some things that you would wanted to, but once somebody's in that, I mean, there's a lot of things that needed to happen before even President Chui take in. We don't have a great structure. We don't have a lot of things that will have helped him support to succeed. I do think he did well for what he could have done, but I always say this, there's always room for improvement. So thank you so much for agreeing to serve. And, there's always, you can always identify the benchmarks or the things that you had that will need to be improved on and pass it on to the next leader, whoever that leader will be. And I think we'll be fine with your blessings and be able to guide the upcoming leadership. Thank you.
All right. So thank you very much. I think that's it from the two ladies. Thank you for your insights, and we hope that you continue to be engaged and particularly try to bring the young ladies, young ladies, boys and girls, so that they're part of the conversation going forward. So again, now we move on and we welcome the man of the hour, outgoing President Geoffrey Chui. Chui Gichana, my good friend. So how are you doing, sir? You look absolutely great. I think he's muted. Sorry, Chui is muted.
I'm doing great. I've been following some of your interviews that you've been having with the candidates, and people who care about the community. And I must say that I'm really happy. I'm happy with the excitement that I'm seeing, and I can't wait on what is going to be coming going forward. So again, I want to say thank you for having me for today, and hopefully we'll have a good discussion. Thank you.
Okay, so good. I think the volume very audible. I want to tell you, as Ben works on that, A lot of people call me. They're wishing you nothing but the very best. Thank you for a wonderful job, having served in the organization for the last 8 years. And I think David Bichanga put it well. I think in one of the posts, he did clearly say Wanyagiting has been in operation for 31 years, and for that time to start part of that time. I think that's a good time for you to be part of the conversation. So let's get straight to it and then have a discussion. Of course, your reflections as you say goodbye to the community, at least in the meantime, and I'm sure you're going to have more assignments for the community in the future. So, why do you think there's huge excitement in the community about these elections, Joey?
Yeah, I mean, I will say that, again, thank you for the question. I will say the excitement has been a work in the making. It's been a process. If you look back when we came to office a few years ago, I'll say almost 7 to 8 years ago, our dynamics as a community were kind of changing a little bit. You know, Omanjagitinge was one before, and then at some point we did end up having so many groups that took care of what Omanjagitinge used to do before. So when my first team came in, my first time, we tried to change that dynamic a little bit. You know, and the idea was that because our community, our numbers are growing and whatnot, we needed to change tack in terms of how we address our issues, how we handle ourselves as a community, and how we deal with each other. You know, but I guess that process in terms of how we had planned for it didn't quite go as well because these small groups were already entrenched in terms of what they're doing. And so what over the years has ended up happening is that the same folks who had grown in small groups over time, and as our numbers have increased, they have seen the need and the value of coming together as one community. For example, now these small groups usually did cater for funerals, matangas. But now, as our numbers have grown and the need for matangas has grown, it's put a strain on most of our community members because people are paying money like a month. Someone can pay $2,000 to matangas. So there's been a need for us to like find a ways like how do we as a community in terms of where you come from, how do we coalesce that strength in numbers and come together and build something that is going to be more tangible, much more stronger, and that will drive us forward as a community. So now what you're seeing in terms of this excitement also comes from the fact that we had this COVID-19, which has really brought out a new reality in terms of who we are as a community. You know, and people are seeing actually that coming together as one as a community gives us more value in terms of number one, us being here, in terms of us being supporting each other. And now we have come to the point where they have realized that this Wanyagitinge that has been there for a while, is the right vehicle for us to actually come in and support it. So in my opinion, that's why you're seeing a lot of people suddenly coming up with that realization that Wanyagitinge needs to be something else. You know, my team has done what they have done so far with what we had, and I think this is where we are. But the excitement that I'm seeing right now is in a process in the making, and I think that's where we are right now. So thank you.
Oh, Ben, by the way, I'm receiving text messages. Geoffrey's audio is not very clear. So please, from the technical side, try to work so that our people can hear him very well. Remember, he's the president, and everybody wants to hear every single word he says. So, Chui, as the technical team works on, okay, so yeah, can you?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's much better. Yes. Okay. So, Chui, obviously, in any organization, there are ups and downs. That should be expected. But when you sit down and reflect on your 8 years in office, what do you think were some of your greatest achievements?
That's a very good question. I'll name a few, and I'll just begin with one. And I think this is a fact that you guys are seeing right now. The idea that actually, when I came to office, our numbers in terms of what Wanyagitinge was very small. Now you are seeing an unprecedented number of people registering to actually be part of the process to vote. But also you're seeing on the other side, a lot of candidates coming in as well to be part of the process to actually help lead the community. So what I want to be clear about so that people understand is that these folks didn't just wake up one morning and say, we're going to do Mwanyagetinge. Like I said before, it's been a process that has been in the making up to a point where now you're seeing what you're seeing. So I'll say one of my accomplishments that I think I'll say my team should be proud of is that we have been able to increase the membership and the enthusiasm of Mwanyagetinge like it's never been done before. So that's one. The second one, I'll say this. During my administration, we were able to create very good networking connections with the embassy, and that was also in partnership with other groups, other Kenyan groups. You know, we have a Kia, Gotagba, Kaba group, you know, and also some folks from the Somali group as well. How we did that was through having a coalition of Kenyan groups who really cared about where us as Kenyans needed to go, but then also having Mwanyagetinge lead that process. So through that process and through working with the embassy, we were able actually to, for the first time, bring the passport renewal and Kenyan ID card exercise here in Minnesota. Okay, that one has never been done before, and we did it together with other groups. Now, over time, we have tried to do the same thing again, but different things have come in through, but we are still working on that, and I hope whoever comes next will do the same thing. The other thing that we have been able to do, basically, is also create partnerships with like-minded groups, community groups within other organizations, other African countries, you know, for the common purpose of trying to say that, you know, for once we're immigrants, we are a community that really needs to come together and work in a way that is going to build all of us as a community. So those partnerships are still there, and they're still strong. And the next team that is coming in will very well be part of that process. Then one last thing, because there are many, I'll say is this though. Like I said before, when we came in the first time, the idea was to see how do we build ourselves here in this new country and be able to add value to who we are. One thing that became very clear is this though. Our numbers were growing. People are actually living here more. They're not going back home. You know, I mean, in the past, you know, people had 1 foot here, 1 foot back home. But now with time, you know, you come here, you buy properties, you buy a house. You come here, you have kids, your kids are growing, you know, and at some point, you realize that actually this is also our home. And how do we come together and work together to make sure that we also build this place as our home? So the other thing that we have done so far, and I think I'm proud to say, is this though. We did plant a seed saying that, you know, among us as Kenyans or Mwanyagetinge or Africans, we needed to have a way that some of our people take roles that push us forward in terms of the civic engagement. So, for example, you know, if you're a parent who has a kid in school, you know, we have civic. You can like join the school board, the school committee, so that you're part of the process. The other part is like, you know, most of us live in cities and our numbers are big there. The idea was that how can we also have representation, for example, in the state level or even in the federal level, where people can also speak for us. And now, over the few years, you have seen that come up very well. For the first time right now, we have the biggest number of Africans actually running for office, be it the state or the city council. And from our community, I'm proud to say, you know, I have Henry Momanyi running for city council, which is a big thing. We have Walter Nyebere, I know, also running for the Brooklyn Center, Brooklyn Park city council seat. And then before that, you know, we had Mr. Muko run for mayor. But all those things could not have happened if we could not have insisted that there's a need for us to start thinking that, you know, this is our home, and how do we come together as a community and help build that, you know. So, but now in terms of other things that I could have done better, I think there's always room for improvement. But given the capacity and the resources that I had at the time, I did what I had to do, given what I had. And for me, I know that we've already put down a foundation where that anybody who comes in now should be able to of course, look at what we have done so far and be able to piggyback on that to improve our community. So thank you.
Okay, good. Geoffrey, you and I have had a lot of private conversations. And just as you know, I teach politics and I teach leadership. If you look at the greater leaders in our society, they do have moments when they do self-reflections and organizational reflections. Looking back 8 years later, what do you think you would have done differently?
Looking back 8 years, I think there's only a few things maybe I could have done a little different. But I would say that my first time, when I came in, I actually did do a lot. You know, I went around and engaged all the community leaders, church leaders, and trying to find a common ground on how we could move forward. You know, so most of the leaders that we have right now can attest to that. I also did reach out to, you know, church leaders, you know, youth leaders and whatnot. But I think that part probably wasn't understood. I don't think we had that, I would say, a paradigm shift in terms of us as a community. We needed to find a way to start thinking differently in terms of how we live here. You know, so that was for me kind of like a process in the making. What I could have done better, maybe I could have consistently worked on strengthening those engagements. At some point, I think I got burnt out, you know, because I mean we had everything set up, we have structures in place, we had our vision, mission, and everything, but we lacked the capacity to actually be able to implement what we had wanted to do, you know. But I didn't give up, you know. So up to the point where we are right now, that we have people actually coming to run for office, it shows that despite the cards that my team was dealt with, we're able at least to sustain the identity of MWANYAGETINGE to a point where now people want to come in and actually continue our work. What I could have done better, and I think this was discussed with your previous panel, was maybe I could have engaged the youth more. You know, I mean, I did at some point, but maybe I don't think I did enough. You know, so that part I think is what hopefully it needs to be improved going forward. But I think we have already set good foundations in terms of just sensitizing the community about the need for us to be a community, the need for us to build ourselves here, the need for us to actually find a common ground that makes Omogusi and in that regard Kenyans a much more progressive and prosperous community here in Minnesota and the U.S. at large. Thank you.
Okay. Good. And also, I appreciate that. Usually, it's always good when you see a leader acknowledge some of the areas of improvement. So I salute you for that. So as you sit here on the show, and obviously our people are watching you very carefully, what do you think are the three major issues of concern that face our people here in the state of Minnesota and our friends across the country?
I think I'll start by saying that the one part that I think is like I won't say it's an issue, but I think it's something that needs to be worked on. I think it's the lack of unity amongst our groups. You know, I mean, most of us came here from different areas back home, but when we go here, we all face the same problems. And until that issue of coming together and actually working on the same goals and on the same results, I think that's going to be one issue. The other issue I would say that is facing us here as a community will be issues of number one, family issues. Over my time, I've had cases and a lot of problems with people divorcing, people having alcohol problems, our young kids, believe it or not, some of them are young, being jailed for petty offenses, And I think as a community, we haven't really come around that to address those issues. The other one I would say is mainly, I would say it's more of immigration issues. And what I'm saying is this, that most of us who are immigrants don't quite understand the rules that we have to abide by to be able to, to live a good life here. And some of the folks who are in trouble because, number one, they lack the understanding of what those rules are. And I think as a community we have failed to have a platform where we can fully address that in a way that actually adds value to who we are. So I think just in a snapshot, these are the three things that I will say that I can just name as of right now. And of course, there are many. So.
Okay, thank you. Joey, I'm going to take you back to last summer. You were in South Africa, and we were exchanging messages. I think you went to Robben Island, where Mandela was imprisoned. And in our text messages, I asked you to study the history of Nelson Mandela. Before he was sent to prison, he made a very compelling statement. He did say there was a reason why he lived, and he was prepared to die for it. So, and then after prison, he came back, and despite all the pain, all the frustrations, all the disappointments, all the betrayals, he did come back with the Truth and Reconciliation Commission that propelled South Africa to where it is today. So back to you as an individual, Joe. I want you to take a brief moment and think about this. There's a concept of forgiveness. I just want you to face the camera and our people that are watching you very closely. What is your understanding of forgiveness, and how should the next leadership use the concept of forgiveness, truthfulness, and reconciliation as a tool for steering our organization and the community forward? So I'm going to ask the cameraman to take me off, and then you face the community.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that question. And I know it's a little bit of a deep question, but I'll do my best to answer it. Yes, my tour of South Africa, even though I went to also see my niece graduate from the African Leadership Academy in Johannesburg, my other part was also to go visit the Mandela Memorial, just to understand the struggle, the work, up to the point where he became who he is right now. And for me, I will say that experience was very surreal. To see a man who was so much persecuted come back, and people assume that he will come back with vengeance, change tact completely and actually become more inclusive and be somebody who the world looks after, is something that was actually worth seeing and experiencing when I was on there. So for me, when you ask me about the meaning of forgiveness, for me basically it means that letting bygones be bygones, and trying to be positive, and trying to build relationships that when you're going forward that foster unity, foster togetherness, and foster an environment where people can work together and grow together. As you know, this job that we are doing, is volunteer work. And some of us do it because of the passion we have for community work and for public service. And while most people will not do what I have done because, number one, it's a volunteer job, and many people don't like working for no pay. But for me, my passion in community work, has been there from when I was young, But now also, with this kind of leadership, this kind of roles, you always also have critics, who will come from all sides, and criticize you, maybe on real issues, on facts, or on propaganda. But as a leader, my job is to try and look beyond that, and try to see, okay, this thing has been mentioned, this thing has been done. How do I then use that in a positive way to foster change, or to maybe change the mind of that person, or maybe to create an environment where we can work together in a way that builds all of us together. So I won't lie to you that over time, it takes time to get to that point. But at this point, I think I have seen enough, and I have understood where people come from. And for me, quite honestly, holding grudges and whatnot already is very, it takes away your energy. And as I'm growing older, I don't think I want to dwell on that. So for me, forgiveness comes very easily. and I try to find ways to work with people that I don't like, because it's the only way, So for me, I'll say that forgiveness, like at this point in time, comes very easily for me. So for the team that is going to be coming, or whoever is going to be coming in after me, I think mine is to offer an open hand and say that where I fail or where I've gone wrong, my hope is that we can work together and see how can we improve on that, or maybe advise you on how to make that different. So but I'm very much willing to actually work with the team, and just to finish, I'll say that no organization or any group can actually work without the support of its members. So all I'm saying is that even though we have these record numbers of people are registering to vote and whatnot, I think the key piece comes in and will be that after the elections, after the fact, will those people actually stay in and support the leaders that they've elected? And I think that's where the key lies in terms of how this organization is going to move forward. And I'm willing to be part of that process to help support the incoming group to make sure that they succeed, because if they succeed, we all succeed. And I think that's what we want. So thank you for that.
Okay, good. Excellent. I think you're speaking like a statesman, which I really appreciate. So as you sit there, what is your wish for the organization and the community for the next 5 to 10 years?
Thank you for that question. So mine is pretty simple, and I just want to be clear so that people understand. It's taken almost a few years for us to come to where we are right now. Okay, the idea that we have this many people registering to vote and be part of the process is not by accident. Okay, so that shows that our people have reached a point where they actually want a community group that actually works for them, that they're willing to be part of the process, and they're willing to actually work together to make that happen. My hope is this. My hope for the new group and for Mwanyagetinge in the next coming years will be, number one, for them, for all the groups that haven't in the past worked together, if they can find a way to work together and support the incoming team, that will be one thing that we need to do. Some of the things that maybe I'll suggest that we had already started doing but we didn't quite accomplish was that there's a few things that tend to rally people together. We have churches, but the one thing that I think many folks have been talking about, and I know some of the candidates also espouse the same kind of thinking, is that we need to have a community center where our people come and meet. If you look at these other communities, like the Somalis, like the Oromo people, and whatnot, they have been able to do that, and that actually brings people together, because when we have that place where we come and meet together for events and whatnot, it tends to bring our common good together. So that'll be one thing that I'm hoping to be part of, in support of the incoming team. And then the other one is actually the idea of having our own a trade union. Okay, I think our numbers right now in terms of who we are, in terms of the economic power base, we are ready actually to own our own banks. The own banks that support our businesses, that support our initiatives, and I think that's also one thing that also can be used to rally us together. And then the last thing that I'll say that I'm hoping that will help this community move forward will be for the incoming leadership to truly work on engaging the community in terms of through the chairman of these other groups, through the church leadership, because I think they're very key in terms of helping you drive the point home to those different groups. And also, lastly, being able to actually also work on engaging the youth more and more as much as they can. So I think those are the things that maybe I'll say to the incoming group that I think will make Mwanyagetinge to something bigger in the next 5 to 10 years. So thank you.
So, Geoffrey, I want to not to take you back, but I want you to talk to a particular demographic within our community. As you obviously know, the two front runners are women. We haven't having this in the community for a long time, but obviously they've really brought a lot of excitement. And in my view, they're exceptional women who have the capability of leading the organization to the future. And also the Jared Waro is running is a young man who is also very capable of doing this. So I want you to talk directly, if you don't mind, to the women within our community and the young people. Why should they, yes, they've registered in big numbers, but why should they stick with whoever they choose, or we choose as a leader, so that we achieve all those hopes that you just mentioned?
Yeah, thank you. So first of all, I would like to really say I'm very proud of everybody who has stepped up to actually volunteer to run for any office in MWANYAGETINGE. So be it from the new county reps positions, treasurer, secretary, organizing secretary, up to the president. So I think for me that it kind of gives me so much joy to see that kind of volunteerism from our community. Something that honestly I've never seen that before. Now to the two ladies who have stepped up, and also to the gentleman Guaro. I mean, I know all of them. I've worked with all of them. I've worked with Hulda. I've worked with Susan. I've also worked with Jared as well. So these are all people who are capable of doing a good job for MWANYAGETINGE. But on my take, I think one key piece that I think we'll need to look at is that whoever comes in also has to be able to connect with the youth in a way that is very different. Because as you see now, most of our youth, for example, I've been here for almost 22 years now. My nephews and nieces who are young when I came, or who are born when I was here, are already in college. They're almost getting down in college. So they are looking for an identity in terms of being Kenyan. Okay, number one, being American. Number two, also being Kenyan. So we need leadership that is going to tap onto that group of people. Because right now, I will tell you that they really don't have a group where they feel like they belong to. And I think so we have a chance to do that. So my hope is that for the voters, for the ones who are going to be leading, okay, I'll request that you vote for somebody who's truly is going to make a difference in the community, someone who really has experience in terms of community work and public service, somebody who has passion in terms of community development, and somebody who is willing to engage the different groups in our community, from the old to the young, and also someone who's respectful to the community and all of us as well. So I'll urge you to look into that because I know what you have right now as candidates are folks who are qualified, very, very much qualified. But I know you will choose one of them who will probably be the best leader to lead us. I have my choice, but for right now, I'll hold on to that. So thank you.
I think you obviously, as we had a conversation shortly after this, we have Pastor Mokwa who's going to obviously talk to the community about the need for us being united under MWANYAGETINGE. But before then, we also have Shem Nyangito who's coming in. So I'm going to get off the camera again and give you 1 minute so that you can say your goodbye to the community.
Hello, MWANYAGETINGE members and my fellow Kenyans. First of all, I want to say thank you so much for the opportunity and the chance to serve you. I know you put a lot of confidence in me, and you obviously had hopes about where we are going. And I must say that it's been a challenge, but for me, it's been a very, very, very good experience. In terms of just working with all of you, but also in terms of networking and connecting with different people and different groups here in Minnesota, in the US, and also in Kenya as well. So for that one, I want to say thank you for the opportunity to serve, and I hope that going forward, I will still be of service, because as of yet, I'm not planning to go away anytime soon, because public service is part of me and it's who I am. And probably you might be seeing me maybe on a different level again, serving you. But this time it will be more of hopefully a bigger role. But I hope that you guys, God willing, you'll support me, and hopefully I'll be of service again. For the ones who are coming in terms of the new leadership, for whoever who's going to win, I want to say that you're also going to be having my equivocal support in terms of your leadership, in terms of advising and maybe helping out in committees. So I will be there for you, and my team as well does promise to be part of that process. So again, thank you very much for the opportunity, and thank you for your time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Chui. I think that will mark it. Chui, obviously, from me, you are a very personal friend. I want to take this opportunity to thank you for the wonderful service you've done for the community. I remember the day we sat somewhere in Brooklyn Park as we were thinking of running 8 years ago. I can't believe that time is gone. And I know you've gone through a lot during that time. Thank you for the service to our community. And I think many messages I've received, they do share the same sentiment. Thank you for all you're doing. Just look to the skies, be proud of what you've achieved, because over in the skies, there's a bright future for you. Obviously, whether you decide to run for senator here, you want to be a governor, whatever you choose to do, I will tell you for sure that we support you. And I want to, last comment, I want to tell you, because I teach leadership and politics, you'll be surprised that your fiercest critics are probably the people who love you the most. So don't take it personal. I think they've shaped your thinking. I'm very proud to call you a friend, and I'm sure the community shares the same sentiment. And I think you need to call it Neema Mura. She put it right. Really, we love you, we support you, and we'll continue to support you. So thank you, and wish you well in all you do in your next step. So up next, we as we said, we're saying goodbye to Chui. That's done. And then now we have on camera. I know I've received a lot of text messages and calls from the state, from New Jersey, from Texas, from Kenya. People asking me, what is MWANYAGETINGE? Where did it start? So I had to try to do my research, and I didn't do very good research. I was able to meet Shem Nyangito, who is now on camera. And we thought before we bring in Pastor Mokua, we can have Shem to say goodbye to Chui, and also particularly talk to the young people. Give us a quick reflection. Where did MWANYAGETINGE start? How it's grown, where we are, and how we move forward. So, Shem, good to see you and welcome. Please, what do you say to Chui? Shem is muted.
Okay. Yes, I was muted. Thank you very much, Professor Okali and Kebuato for organizing this to have our last word of our outgoing president, Chui. It's been a long 8 years that he has been in office, and everybody is proud of what achievements he has, how far he has brought MWANYAGETINGE. And we will wish him to continue engaging himself with the community. He's with us here, and he's going to join us, all the leaders that have come and served under MWANYAGETINGE, and they have continued to serve this community. So we welcome him to their leadership, and we will continue mentoring him and more as he continues being an elder. I know you just asked me to give a brief history of MWANYAGETINGE. I know as a perception for most people, and especially who during my time, might have forgotten that there were some leaders before me. But it is apparently known that MWANYAGETINGE was Nyangito for a long time. But I will run it through the origins of MWANYAGETINGE in Minnesota. First, let me introduce myself. Those maybe who might have not known who I am. My name is Shem Nyangito, and I'm from Pass, Kisii County, and I've been in this country for now over 30 years. I'm married with my lovely wife, Stella. We have 4 beautiful children. who are now teenagers, and soon that we're gonna be net empty nesters here, me and my wife. We really pray for them to continue growing up and join MWANYAGETINGE and be of good value. MWANYAGETINGE, Minnesota. I was back as 1989. 1989, most of those who started MWANYAGETINGE, we were very few. We knew each other. Mostly we were college students, and we were almost going to the same college. So then, you know, we didn't have no cell phones. We didn't have nothing. We had house phones. So when we don't see nobody or somebody missing coming to school, we could always make sure that we follow up, know what's happening. We go to a call box, we call the house, make sure that everybody is fine. So anyways, 1989, when we started MWANYAGETINGE, the name MWANYAGETINGE was already in the books. From Texas, there was MWANYAGETINGE, and I think in New Jersey. It wasn't that very strong. So we had some members who had come from Texas. And as we started launching MWANYAGETINGE in 1989, basically it started with the difficulties that we were getting this country. As students, obviously, we were not even allowed to work. That was the reality of the matter. Our social securities were stamped not allowed to work, unless you get a letter from the college to sponsor you to get a work permit. So basically, we enjoyed it through, and then we got into social problems. One of two of our comrades got into an accident, and we had to come together, find a way. That's when MWANYAGETINGE started. We tried to anchor with the University of Minnesota Students Organization from Kenya to help us mobilize the community to help raise money. It was so difficult. We spent about 2 months raising money until we were able to send those comrades of ours we lost. Then, as we were doing it, that's when we launched MWANYAGETINGE, and the first president was Vincent Obiero. And we were, like me, I was a board member. We had, obviously, the secretary, and one of the people who worked so hard to make it happen is Kennedy December. So Vincent Obiero, who is back in Kenya, was the first president of MWANYAGETINGE in Minnesota. We continued evolving, engaging ourselves how we could help ourselves grow up, get a way of making sure that we can survive in this country. We did that. We continued being together, meeting every other weekend until we found a strategy of survival. After Vincent Obiero, around in 1992, Kennedy December came, the second president of MWANYAGETINGE, who continued the legacy of MWANYAGETINGE, including the newcomers, recruiting them, making sure that we are together. We really worked together as a group, and we helped a lot of people through, especially getting into problems with, raising some bond, making sure that we filed the cases, and we continued until we were very stable. And December continued with also handed over to Obed Nyaribo. Obed Nyaribo, that was around now 1990, about 1995, 1996. Obed Nyaribo served a one term as president. I was his treasurer. When we had put it together MWANYAGETINGE, we encouraged people to enroll as life members with $100. So when OPED came in, and me as a treasurer, we found that the $100 which was not supposed to be charged was no more, because that was a refund for money which was supposed to be refunded anytime a member wants it back. So my task as a treasurer had to make sure I've replenished that amount. It had stood at the time I came in about $15,000. So the way what I did to raise that money was to make sure as benevolent as we contribute for benevolent, we make sure we had put a way that we give a certain percentage of money for the person who is traveling back home, and the remaining amount in excess remains back in the organization of treasury. So I rebuilt that until we had a surplus of almost, we continuously growing. By the time Abed left office, we were around $30,000. Then when the Abed left office, that's when I came in as the president. Now that's approaching around 1998, 1999. I came in office as president and chairman of MWANYAGETINGE, and my work was to completely bring new blood and engage the community. The church, I brought the church, all churches, Seventh-day Adventist, Sunday, that every Saturday after service in the afternoon, twice a month, we could engage a social evening gathering where we could invite pastors. I know we invited people even from Kenya, from Canada, Nyanchama came here. Just an evening that we could socialize. We used to put a buffet. People who live in church come, we go into a big hall, we socialize, we talk our lives. It was an engagement. We were very together. That's how MWANYAGETINGE grew stronger. It grew stronger, and until it attracted a multitude of people coming from all the states, from Texas, from New Jersey, that Minnesota is the place that we hear. People are united. They welcome you. They show you how to live.
So, Shyam, quickly, so who are the next one very quickly so that we get the next speaker?
After I left office, the next ones were Bitrus Getugi. That was around 2005. They came in with custodians, treasurer, I think. Briefly, that didn't go well. There was some kind of mismanagement, and they did not finish their term. We brought it together, members, and we voted them out. That's when we brought in Paul Molande around 2006. Paul Molande came in, continued, revived, continued working with making MWANYAGETINGE strong. By then, we had started some soliciting some funds from outside. We got some funding from the state. A work that I and my committee members had started. So that was the beneficiary. Actually, it helped the community through HIV, which continued. And then after Morande, we had Gerald Njai came in. Those all served 2-year terms. After Gerald Njai came in, David Bichanga. I think David Bichanga served 1 term. And then after David Bichanga came, Chafet Kimaiga. And the Kimaiga came, that's now when actually MWANYAGETINGE started going down, and now constituencies started coming in because we were not delivering what it needed to be as a community. After After Kimaiga, then it came Jeremiah Morocco. After Morocco, that's when the Jew came in, who's been now in the office for the last 80 years. So briefly, that is the history of the leadership of Mwanyagetinge for the last 30 years.
Okay, so thank you again, Shem, so that we're getting Pastor Mokwa ready to make sure that we're on time. So now, having seen what's happening, and obviously we appreciate all those ones that you mentioned for the great work they did, building us to where we are. So knowing what you now know, why do you think unity is very important as we head to the elections this weekend?
What I know and some witnessed all of the leadership of Mwanyagetinge coming, unity is very important, and support, as G said. G, I know he faced an uphill task of not getting the community support. Once you get community support, you are together, you could do a lot. You could make sure that you have you can start improvising, bringing up some good ideas. I know he tried to introduce some insurance for Mwanyagetinge. He actually brought a few agents from different groups. I remember where they gave us a presentation somewhere here in Brooklyn Park. But because of some kind of reason that members were kind of withdrawing away, there was no more support. It did not materialize. What I will say going forward, as we have seen a new Mwanyagetinge coming in with the new officials and the enthusiasm of members registering, we need to introduce more of things that can help us in the community. Insurance being part of a badly needed item. Engaging the community, the youth. And actually, as one thing that we really forgot is we forgot creating a position for a youth leader in Mwanyagetinge who should have been voted in. As we introduced the county representatives, we should have gotten a youth leader, a representative, which I would ask the new coming officials to immediately get down and do amendment in the constitution, put it that, because it would bring our youths who really are in their need of joining Mwanyagetinge. That after that, that's what would bring us together and engaging the community more. That's how we would grow and achieve some of the items that Tree mentioned about credit union and the things that are a whole for the community.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Shem. I think, again, as I said it before, thank you so much for all you did. And it was nice for you to accept to come on to say goodbye to Chui and obviously say a word of encouragement to the community and the need for us working together as brothers and sisters under the same umbrella of Mwanyagetinge. So thank you very much. So next we are having Pastor Mokwa, who is coming on to talk about the need for unity as well.
Let me salute all the leaders of Mwanyagetinge, those who have served in one way or another, from the treasurers, the president, support members. It's not an easy task, and those who are coming in, seek the advice of us here. We will make sure we guide you through and make our society as more prominent, as it has been. Mwanyagetinge, Minnesota, to continue grow and grow even back to Africa to be known as the best place to come because of Mwanyagetinge in Minnesota. Thank you very much, Professor.
Okay, thank you again. So we thank you. That was Shem Gito, one of the founders of Mwanyagetinge. So we're having up next now Pastor Mokwa. Okay, so there's Pastor Mokwa. Hey, how are you doing, Pastor?
I'm doing all right. What about you?
I am doing good. It's good to see. By the way, I like your tie. Yours is better than mine.
Wow, this is what I put on Thursday evenings.
Okay, thank you. So yeah. Pastor, let's get to it. Obviously, the talk. The talk is about the elections, and first I want to say thank you so much for accepting to come on to talk to our people, this network. and also say thank you to you because I have deep respect and appreciation for you for the work you do in the church and in the community. I think most people I've talked to, they said we made the right choice to have you come on to talk about the need of unity in our community. So, and I think you're a better place than I am to talk about this. So maybe from your end, why do you think there's this kind of excitement in the community?
First and foremost, allow me to thank God for giving us the opportunity to be here. It's because of God that we find ourselves living and moving and having our being. Secondly, I want to thank the KDRTV and particularly Brother Kibwato and you, Jeremiah, for the opportunity you have accorded to me that I can come and share with the viewers about who we are, the progress, where we've been and where, and also to answer your questions, and especially this one you've asked, what brings this excitement? I would like to let you know that first and foremost, I'm very excited. I'm very, very excited for these elections because at least, there's nothing much going on around in our news apart from COVID-19. Human beings are, and sometimes we need to get through politics, and of course I'm talking good politics. There's nothing much going back in Kenya, nothing much going on here, and this was the best timing just to bring, even as in church, we postponed our politics. Not politics, our elections to next year. In the Seventh-day Adventist Church, we normally have elections every 5 years. So this year we postponed the elections, we postponed a lot of activities. So these elections found us at the moment when we needed at least to be puffed up. And that's the reason why we as a community, we are excited about it. But as for me, why am I excited? It's because for some time, the work was becoming heavy for me, especially dealing with the community issue. And I found myself working so much in matters pertaining the community than even in the spiritual journey and lifting up spiritually. I used to be called to go to courts. I went to jails many times down in Minneapolis and other places. Even sometimes when there are divorces, they call me. And about some few years ago, about 3 years ago or 4, I called the former president, and Nyangito, I believe you know that. I called the former president and I told them, I'm getting back dealing with the community issues. What can we do? We were about 6 former presidents, and we said something has to be done, including Chui. And that's the time Chui was having the burnout. Say that, and he wanted to step down. I said, Chui, this is not the time for you to step down. You took the baton and you make sure you hand over to somebody else. And he was so gracious enough to hold on. And we had cross doors. We met in coffees. We talked, including Brother Henry, the attorney, and we started formatting ourselves. And I'm very grateful for David Bichanga, who spearheaded this vehicle towards even formatting the caretaker committee with the Brother Omandi, yes. And we transitioned to that, and the people met, they chose the Omandi committee, and honestly, I saw the document when it was on the draft form. Omandi honestly did a good job. And here we are after that journey. That's the reason I'm excited. I believe very soon, at least some of will share the load because of our community. I think I'm excited about that. Thank you.
Okay, so Pastor, let's get to further about this, and thank you for that appreciation for the work we're trying to do here as KDLTV. Obviously, we also want to be part of the conversation, make this the best for our community, and quite frankly, our determination is to make this the premier TV station for the immigrants here. That is our promise, and we'll do everything possible to make that is the case. But let's get back home. Mwanyagetinge is pretty much a family affair. We are all together. right? We came here for the American dream, and nobody really wants to kill the American dream. We have three front runners, and more especially the two absolutely fantastic women, Hulda Mumanyi and Susan Mabera, who are watching right now, and Jared Waro, very fresh with very good ideas, young man who has a very bright future. What do you think are the three major issues? If one of these ladies or the gentlemen win, what do you think are the three major issues really they should really focus so that the community is united?
Okay, wow. That's a good question. First and foremost, I'm really proud of them. I have watched their debate. They are very articulate. They are very passionate. And I want to assure them, whoever wins, I will definitely support them. I will support them the way I have supported the previous presidents. And as I've lived in this community for some time, there are very pertinent issues. You've said three. Number one, to me, I'm very much concerned about families. Family is in my heart, because I normally preach that the only thing that will take to heaven is family. So when I see there's a lot of issues in families, it tells me that even our community is not healthy. The church is not healthy. So the issue of family is very much close to my heart. In pertaining to divorce, it pains me when I sit in the divorce court, and when I see there's domestic violence. I've preached against that. So I've seen the children are walking out from home. So it all begins home. If the new leadership comes in, we'll focus very much on family. That is where my heart is. That's number one. Number two, I have come to realize also that there are a lot of young people, even people, a bigger demographic of our people are getting depressed. Depression is hitting the mental health. The mental health. We cannot deny that. It is within us. And we cannot put our head in the sand and we say, oh, it's not there. It is. So that is another pertinent thing about that is close to my heart. And also about our future. Somebody said, listen, that we're not going back to Kenya. We are here to stay. We are here to stay. Before we go to heaven, we are here. So I want at least to transition better the future, and we hand over. We know that our children will have a soft landing. Those are at least where that I'm focusing very much, and especially the youths. That is another pertinent issue we need to keep on focusing as a church, and we are encouraging churches to hire youth pastors so that the young people can be focused very much. And of course, the Brother Nyangito said at least it's true. We need a youth representative in the incoming office. At least they might have forgotten about that. But of course, the constitution is dynamic. They can put that one. It's not late. Thank you.
So thank you, Pastor. So when we put your flyer out, I received a lot of text messages, people telling me what to ask you and what not to ask you. But among others, they did mention the kind of language that is being used in our social media, WhatsApp groups, and I think there's a character assassination. What I've called, I think, when somebody has pain, it becomes entertaining for others. There's a deep concern in the community that we now growing a culture of character assassination, and I think as a people that is not where we should be. So what do you think the next administration should do to make sure that we have at the very least respect for one another?
You know, you cannot legislate respect, and social media will always be there for us. But when these people start attacking, defaming somebody, well, it tells us more about who you are. And of course, Brother Jeremiah, you will always have a bad apple in the community. We are in this world. We cannot live, in a utopia world where that everybody is fine, everything is hallelujah. But the new administration, of course, will talk to them. And that's why, as a church, we need to partner together, because respect, you cannot actually, again, as I've said, you cannot legislate it. It's in the heart. If you start vomiting virus words attacking people, it needs you ask, from the spiritual side, I can say you need redemption. And of course, the new administration, when you hear that, calm them down and talk to them. Maybe they can change. Don't be afraid. Talk to them, reprimand them.
Okay. So let me ask you the same question I asked 3 moments ago before we finish. We're hoping to finish at 9 o'clock, so we are right on time. That's good news for us. So obviously there is tension, and I understand politics, the campaigns. People really, if you look at Susan, she has die-hard supporters, which is a good thing. Susan has supporters, Ulda has supporters, and Jared as well has supporters. And obviously, we salute Charles Maisiba for making his decision. We respect that and hope he will continue the conversation. But the truth of the matter is, after Sunday, one of these three candidates is going to win. That's for sure. And there's going to be pain and disappointment. And what Joey said, sometimes we've had difficulties, differences in the community. Let's talk about what the scripture says about the science of forgiveness. How do we, not just the next demonstration, but how do we as a community use that concept of forgiveness, truthfulness, so that we together move this organization forward and as a community?
This month of July, I've been preaching about reconciliation. And my focus has been in the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 5 from verse 17 to 20. And the Bible says that whoever is in Christ is a new person. Other translation says is a new creation. The old is gone, and behold, the new has come. And Paul goes further by saying that God has given us ministry of reconciliation. The ministry means the task, the assignment. That we all have an assignment here on earth. Everybody, even you. You are not here by accident. You are here because you are here to fulfill something. And also, not only the assignment, but also the message. And what is the message of reconciliation? Come back. Be reconciled, not only to God, but to one another. And that is very important. Reconciliation. Very important. And I see reconciliation coming in three aspects. It's about, number one, is about love. Love. That we need to love one another when we mention about reconciliation. Love yourself, love your neighbor. He is your brother, as much as you have different point of view. Love your sister. That's number one. Reconciliation to me comes, of course, as you have said, with the spirit of forgiveness, as Christ has said in the book of Ephesians chapter 4, verse 32, that be kind, tender-hearted, and forgiving one another as Christ forgave. Forgiveness is very important. Of course, there we have spoken one word or another that is not good, didn't sound well to you. But God is calling us as a community after Sunday. We come back to that spirit of forgiving one another. And by the way, when you forgive, it does more good to you. Very important. Forgiveness is listening to you. And with that said, that aspect, of course, I've said love, reconciliation comes with this aspect of love, comes with also the mindset of forgiveness. And the third one comes with the spirit of unity. And to me, that is very important. Unity. Without unity, we'll not go far. And allow me to quote the book of Genesis chapter 11, verse 6. In this passage, very quickly, there was a king by the name of Nimrod. And the Bible says that he was the king at the time when people had one language. Only one language. And because they were united, they built, and they eventually built the Tower of Babel. And verse 6 says that God in heaven, when they saw that, they said, these people are very united. And if we let them continue doing this, they will do the impossible things. And that is a catch point. Even God knows if we are united, we are speaking the same language, we are one, we can do the impossible. There's the power of oneness. So, brothers and sisters, after Sunday, I'm appealing to all of us. Let's come back together. We have come from a history which is not very appealing. Even as a church, there was a time we were very disenfranchised. We were breaking churches here and there, moving up and down. But you know yourself, especially as in Minnesota, for the last few, we've been very united, to a point that when we have our camp meeting, people wonder. For the last 2 years, we have had more than 3,000. And for your information, these almost 3,000, 97% are Kisi, MWANYAGETINGE, Omogusi. And even now, we don't have a place where to take them for the camp meeting. And I expect, Brother Jeremiah, the new leadership, as somebody said, that we need a community center. We need a community where we can hold these numbers. We have the numbers here. We can make an impact. When we are united, the way the Nimrod united the people during the Tower of Babel, the sky is the limit. We have the potential. Look here, finally, Brother Jeremiah. We have built now almost 4 churches. And these churches are almost $1 million. And we are the ones, we have not got money from Muzungus. It's our money. We are paying the mortgage. What about if you have our own community? What about if we have a place for the elderly, the assisted living? We can do it. Other communities have done. We have the numbers. We can do it. So long as we come together. And I'm appealing to my brothers and sisters, let's be together. We will do a lot in taking care of our families, in taking care of our youths, our husband, even having a better place to retire. I was telling my wife now, the way I'll be here now. I thought I was stepping back in Africa, Kenya, and here, but now I'm here. So I need the community to think in terms of 10 years from now, 20 years, because by that time, I need to have our own assisted living, our own community center where we can come and have a cup of uji. Thank you.
So thank you, Pastor Mukwa. So I think we're on time. So we have 7 minutes to go. But before then, so if I may ask you, the 3 things that you wish to see in our community in the next 5 years is what? 3 things that you so desperately wish you've said we so many times, but the 3 things that you wish that we have within the next 5 years are what?
3 things. Number 1, I would like at least to see the families that come to the US stay together. That's my prayer, and I pray for families. It hurts me when there's divorce. That's one family. We need to think more about our youths. Our youth in the light of mental health. This thing of depression, we need to have counselors, our own, who can come and counsel our young people. We need that. And of course, we need the community center. I need it, especially from the church point of view. We need a place where the community, we can partner together. We buy a big facility, we buy a big land that is our own. We can have our own tent. We can have our own structure where we can meet, because we've been going around, because we have the numbers. We have the numbers. So if we get land, we get a big community center where we can be doing our events, spiritual events, social events, and many other events, including the weddings. You know, tell me, there's a wedding I'm joining in the end of the month, the next month, that we are being charged 28, almost 40,000, just one evening from 4 to 8. Expensive wedding. What about if we have our own? We should not be giving this money outside. So at least, and with that, if the leadership comes in, I will support to achieve those goals. And I'm glad they have come with a lot of visions, a lot of plans. Let's plan it systematically. No, we'll do this, we'll accomplish this to the very end. And count me in. I'll support you. Thank you.
You make a very good point, Pastor Mokwa, as we finish here. Sometimes we get invited to very expensive hotels. We pay money and then spend a lot of money eating macaroni and all this stuff. And sometimes I wonder why we can't have a community center where we can have our Managus and Chinsagas. Honestly, it bothers me a great deal. We spent one weekend to raise $70,000 for Matanga to see one of our loved ones off, but together we cannot pull the resources to have a community. So that completely is beyond my understanding, but I think I'm very optimistic this time.
conclude, very quickly, it's because we were not united. I've just quoted Nimrod. If we are united, the sky is the limit. We can do it. Let's give the new leadership the support, and you will be surprised. You will be surprised. Wait and see.
Okay. So, Pastor Mokwa, I'm going to have you look straight at the camera and make a closing statement. Particularly, I wish you to talk to the aspirants, the presidential candidate, and all the candidates running. So, I want you to say a word of encouragement and wish them well, and then what we do as a community after Sunday. So,
okay, I will be very brief, very quickly, and I'm very grateful for the kindness to stand up to lead the community. I'm really proud of you. I'm really proud of you. But at the end of the day, we get one leader. If you don't make it, don't be disappointed. There's always the next time. There's always the next time. And also, let's support whoever will become the president. Because when we support the incoming president, it means we are supporting each other. We are brothers, sisters from the same parent. Again, if we support one another, we will make it. Therefore, brothers and sisters, I want to humbly request you, let us choose, because I know God will impress upon our hearts and mind to choose the right person. So let's pray for them and let's leave it to God. Thank you.
Thank you. That's very well said. And I think our target was to end this discussion at 9 o'clock. So it's 3 minutes to that. I want to thank you all. Thank you, Pastor Mokwa, for coming on. I want to thank Shem Nyangito for coming on as well. The early participant panelist, Dr. Judy Onduso, thank you very much. Lina Marube, thank you very, very kindly for coming on and sharing this discussion so that together we grow.
So can I get some 1 minute commercial break? Though I didn't. Well, next week. I'm sorry, I didn't tell you this. Next week we are, as a church, starting an evangelistic campaign where the message will be calling people to come back to God. Because when we come back to God, we'll be one. I would humbly request all the viewers, if you have time, just come and visit us through our Facebook forum, through our YouTube, and you'll be blessed. We are having Pastor Randy Skit coming to town, and he's there for you. And may God bless you as you are ministered to nourish your spiritual life. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
So, end of that, I think, thank you, Pastor Mokwa. So I think we will come to the end of this. I want to thank Pastor Mokwa. I want to also make a passionate appeal to our pastors. So I know Pastor Bogongo, Pastor Birai, Pastor Maina, Pastor Liki, Pastor Kenyanya, you are young. We really need to see you on the show soon because you need to talk to the younger population. All the pastors in our community, we appreciate it. We'll try to have you on the show as well. But the best favor you can do us this weekend, try to pray for the community and rally the community behind whoever God decides who's going to be a leader. So please do us that favor. As well for the community, I think I'm going to quote Henry Mogire. I think I read your quote on the group. You said the community is watching this and we have to get this right. Well, let's pray that this time around we get it right. So that is the goal. So that you're aware, as a member, particularly those on here in Minnesota, be aware that tomorrow we have the final debate, and it will be watched live across the country. So pretty much, and I want to also thank Nana and the Egesa FM. They've been broadcasting this debate tomorrow and the election this weekend. So especially those brothers and sisters here in Minneapolis, Minnesota, please let's get this right tomorrow and over the week. Let's set an example for the rest of the country, and those of you MWANYAGETINGEs who are watching from across the country. We love you. We appreciate you paying attention. After the elections, we work towards making sure that we together work as a team. And obviously, I want to thank KDRTV. We are very determined to make this a premier TV for the diaspora population. We need your support. And please feel free to give us feedback. If we didn't do a good job, please let us know and let us know where we can improve. By so doing, we will have a platform where we can communicate our own affairs. So at least for now, thank you very kindly for being with us. Let's look forward to seeing you again tomorrow at 7. We'll meet tomorrow at 6:30. We're going to have a pre-debate. We're going to welcome Professor Otiso, who's been a very good friend of the community here in Minneapolis. We have Dr. Bogongo, Sarah Okindo also doing a fantastic job. And I think Dr. London as well will join us for the pre and post debate analysis. And then obviously the three aspirants will be the line of fire. But I think their campaign strategies are really working hard to make sure that we set an example for the rest of the country. But for now, thank you very kindly for watching. Have a good night. Let's talk again tomorrow.
Thank you.
Okay.